This is America. The greatest atrocity against mankind. American chattel slavery. If you traced your lineage, what would you find? Do you know where your roots lead to?
Grace and peace, Black family. This is Vicky Dillard, your sister with the curly braids. And I want you to get ready for the new Master Elements project, The Spear and the Shield.
This vaccine isn't experimental. It's like a dandelion. You overlook it for their weird science.
DJ RP Beats and Sincere Love the God have taken this time during the pandemic to carefully craft the soundtrack to Black empowerment with hot tracks like God Mine, featuring Sadat X of the legendary group Brand Nubians.
We never die. I made an ancestral shrine. Let's see what's in the God's mind. Listen, I'm a law in a person of sincere love the God. That mean your arms too short like Tar Anthony Shaw.
God painted me black.
God painted me black. Thanks for that. I'm a Benjamin man.
A letter to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
I say to the ancestors, dear Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, I just wanted to thank you for all the lessons you left us. So yes, I'm more than grateful.
And the controversial song Buck Breaking God today.
Why every black show they gotta have a transgender? Either I'm crazy or this gotta be a planned agenda.
Get ready, Black family. This is a much needed project. This is The Spear and the Shield.
This, could we use that, could we turn that what you deem as being a negative thing into a positive, almost like us pinpointing the evolutions of of rap and hip hop? Because I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Like right now I'm hearing a conversation as far as like the females in hip hop. There's a big discussion now about like a lot of the females are mostly sexually overt, and is this considered hip hop? And I've heard people say that maybe this is a category that we could call now exotic dance rap.
That's what they call it, stripper rap.
Or stripper rap.
Or
strap.
But I'm saying that on a more formal level, just giving it its respect for what it is. If it was to have a formal category name and it was called something like exotic dance rap, wouldn't that almost be like a positive in a sense of, okay, this is that, not taking away from what a Bahamadia does or what a Jean Grey does or what or the females that don't do that. So it's almost like giving things its own subcategory or subgenre, and actually like just pinpointing in time, like, okay, this was something that got popular in this era, this is something that got popular in this era, this is something that got popular in this era. So it encompasses everything without I guess eradicating the past. Is that a way to turn this into a positive?
I would agree with you if we had control of what is channeled to our children. We don't have control of that. So there's no way you can create that genre that won't end up at a 5-year-old on their way to school hearing that. There's no way to do that. And that's the war. And so, we have young people going to school 8:30 in the morning, hearing songs called Molly Percocet. And let a nigga try me, I'm gonna kill his whole family. And that brings us back to the terminology. The term hip hop was a pejorative. It was a negative term. It was not a good term. And somehow we paste it on top of our expression, and we somehow psychologically try to accept it as good when it never was. And so it's doing what it was meant to do as a term. I think our biggest problem is that we truly don't understand what the English language is and how it affects us and how we use it. We actually dream in English. That's a big problem. And our whole thing is expressing ourselves through oratorial skills. And we're using a language that we truly don't really understand because we're still in the same condition we're in. No matter who's at the podium, nothing changes. And so we see these few monetary gains, which, if you understand the social engineering aspect of it, that's a necessary process to make everyone believers. You see what I'm saying? And so to have a strip rap, you know, and I'm not laughing at what you're saying. I'm laughing at the whole picture. It's we're all comedians, all of us, because we know that this is wrong, and we play this game to get the access to materialistic gains so that we can feel better about ourselves. And at what point do we, you know what I'm saying? At what point do we go, look what's going on outside? You got kids murdering each other without thinking twice and don't care and creating ghosts all over the place.
Listen, unfortunately, we're running out of time. You
All right.
All right.
All right. We here. We are here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the GodCast. I am the God, Sincere Love, as many of you know, and I'm here with my Cali Country co-host on this Sunday afternoon, nyctegur
What's
in
up?
the building. What's going on?
What's up, y'all? Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Got your LA hat on today?
I'm rocking it. So I bought it yesterday, and I was actually looking for a New York hat, y'all. But I could not find one in black.
Don't do it because they already think NYC
I
stands
know.
for New York City. You know what I'm saying? You just gonna create more confusion out here.
Exactly. But I wanted it to represent, you know, our foundation of Black Americans in New York that, you know, created hip hop. So I was trying to. I tried, but they was hating on the color. I could not get a black hat.
Yeah. But you was looking real fly. The picture that I seen, you know what I'm saying? You had some green on.
Yeah, my Fendi bags with my Fendi bag, my little LA hat, you know, a little casual, you know, flyness. No, man, thank you, brother.
Swagged up. I love it. Love it. So what's going on, man? I already told you it's hot as a motherfucker down here.
Oh my God, this hat will be probably snatched off, you know, in a minute. You know, I've got little frizz in my braids I was trying to cover up, but you know, it might be snatched off. It's hot.
For real. Salute to the family. What's going on? Cheryl, Nyan Beauty, Virgo, Venom. Appreciate y'all joining us. Virgo, I think you was the one that was hitting the Cashapp last week. I wanted to thank you. Personally, I believe that was you. We got the Foundational Black American flag on your Cashapp picture. I appreciate it. Jackson Harlem, what's going on? Everybody in the digital building, appreciate y'all tapping in with us. Make sure that y'all hit the like button, share this out on your social medias, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, head on over to the YouTube channel, click the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new episodes of Sincere Love the GodCast. We do this on Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. And on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you can look for our weekly series, The Black Business Showcase, where we chop it up with entrepreneurs and business owners and just get some good game about business and things of that nature. Some chick named Star in the building. What's going on? Chick named Star? Yeah, and so who we got this Wednesday on the Black Business Showcase?
Which a lot of our
I don't even got my sound effects.
You don't got a sound effect.
Nah, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm having some technical difficulties over here, man. My sound effects ain't popping.
You know, I was enjoying that the other day. I was enjoying that. So who we have on this Wednesday, so you guys know that's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we have our brother, LA's own, because, you know, he reps LA, Dewan B. Most of y'all were just in his space, which was a great space with our brother, Dr. Randy Short. I
Yes,
love
indeed.
that place. I'm actually still logged in right now, trying to listen in a little bit as I'm doing the show. But we will have Dewan B on Wednesday's show. Shout out to our brother Dewan B.
Yeah, so y'all already know that's gonna be lit. Y'all
Yes.
already know if y'all familiar with our brother Duan B, he drops major gems. He's definitely a musical historian, a history buff in general. You know what I'm saying? Just gives a lot of good information. If you're not subscribed to his channel, make sure y'all subscribe to Duan B on YouTube and also his incense and ashtrays on what's the name of that thing? Mix show something. I know Star got the information. Star, put those links inside the chat if you will, beloved. Put those links for our brother Duan B's channels, different things that he got going on. There you go. There you go. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so make sure that y'all tap in with our brother. And like she said, he will be here with us on Wednesday. We're gonna chop it up, get all up in his black business.
Yep.
And, you know, see what makes it do what it do. Yep.
The things he does with the children, also the music thing. You know, he has his t-shirt brand, you know, which I love, with the music family tree, like everything. And brain, you know, just a great mind, man. A lot of great minds that we need. We need ourselves and our children to hear great minds such as his, such as Rainy Shore, who's funny at the same time. You know, you can be funny and smart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be smart and lame. You can be freaking brilliant. You know what I'm saying? And funny as hell and down to earth and got swag and culture and all those things. And so I just love that they bring that.
Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm. And so I opened up with shout out to Lord Jamal Rodiga, and that was Grand Mixer DXT, who they was chopping it up with on the NycteGodCast, who I stole their name. Yes, I did. Stole their name. Yes, I did. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to tell people all the time when I first started doing this, I used to give that disclaimer every show. Like, yes, I stole my name from the NycteGodCast. And the thing is, Lord Jamal from Brand Nubians, I've been biting off of Brand Nubians my whole life. You know what I'm saying? They DJ name was Sincere. That's really where I got my name from in the first place. So no shame. No shame. I definitely bit off of our brother. And it just flows, you know what I'm saying? I'm Sincere Love the God. So we're just like, oh, Sincere Love the Godcast. Oh yeah, I'll definitely take that one with me. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, alley-oop. But yeah, Grand Mixer DXT, one of the hip-hop OGs who really breaks down the game in a holistic way, man. The way hip-hop history has been told over the decades has been told in a mythological way. You know what I'm saying? They tried to simplify something that is very complicated. You know what I'm saying? It's real easy to tell a simple story and say, oh yeah, it started in the Bronx in 1973 when somebody threw a party and niggas start spinning on their head and somebody starts scratching the records. And, you know what I'm saying? The history of our culture is much deeper than that, and it's much more vast than that. And Grand Mixer DXT is one of the first people that made me open up my perspective on it, because I was comfortable with that mythological story for a long time of the origins of hip hop. And Grand Mixer DXT, when I first started to hear interviews with him and hear him speak and mention people that I had never heard of, and also just mentioning aspects of the culture that already existed prior to what we know as being the origin, he was like one of the first people that opened my mind up in that respect. And so definitely check out him and any of his interviews that you come across, man. He gives good game.
I'm definitely going to do that, because let me just tell you, when it comes to like the history and origins and stuff, that is not something that I delved into until recently, obviously. You know, I was just here, you know, everybody was black, everybody was rapping. If the beat sound good and I liked it, I vibe with it. I wasn't thinking, you know, I need to study this. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking that our history was going to be like everything else stolen from us, you know, our hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? I was okay with sharing it with the world, you know, not thinking that, you know, the world or some parts of the world were going to be like, well, no, it's ours. We created it. You know, y'all are what? You know, so definitely I'm checking him out so I can learn more of the history and the origin.
And the thing about it, one thing about it is, from what I understand, I think his dad is from Puerto Rico.
or his mom, one of his parents is actually from Puerto Rico. Ponce, Puerto Rico, where they got all the niggas huddled up at. All the dark skinned Puerto Ricans live in the area where one of his parents is actually from, right? But the conversation that we're having is about culture. You know what I'm saying? So even when you hear him talk, when he talks about all of the influences and where all of this stuff comes from, it's rooted in what was happening here with foundational Black Americans. It's not like, even though he might have a parent that's from there, it's not like the culture was imported from there. There was nobody in Puerto Rico doing the things that we were doing over here with music and with culture, with dance and graffiti. All of that stuff started with foundational Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think the problem is us sharing it. The sharing it has been a gift and a curse, because us sharing it is what made it a worldwide phenomenon. You know what I'm saying? But also us not making people and demanding that people put respect on it, and us not solidifying ourselves as the originators and the progenitors of the culture has been to our detriment. So we got to hold ourselves accountable in that respect. And it's up to us.
Because we really don't own it. You know what I'm saying? There's other people that look nothing like us that owns hip hop.
Absolutely.
You know, and control what we hear on radio and on TV and stuff. And that's not like a lot of the stuff that most of us want to hear, because, you know, they have a lot of agendas in some of the music that we're hearing, you know, that's being fed to our children, versus when we were coming up, the information that was fed to our children, or to us, I would say, was a lot of Black empowerment. It was telling stories about what was going on, say, in the hood, if you're talking about, you know, gangster rap or whatever. But these were still things that we all experienced and witnessed on our own. And so we had, you know, men, you know, putting on beats and telling the story in a way that we can vibe to, but we also related to it.
Men and women.
Men and women, absolutely.
And you're right. That's the reason why I chose that particular clip from there, because that's what he was talking about, us owning, you know, the channels that deliver the culture. You know what I'm saying? And it was a good question that she asked, you know what I'm saying, about and putting, kind of compartmentalizing things and putting it in perspective to say, okay, you know, what Megan Thee Stallion and them is doing, it's a form of the culture, but it's not the culture. So let's put it in its own category. But I love the response that he gave. It's like, yo, we can't play this game and act like, you know what I'm saying, it's cool just so we could be accepted. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to acknowledge the damage that is being caused by some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We can't just play this game and go along just to get along and act like everything is cool. But yeah, I would encourage you guys to go watch that entire interview with Grand Mixer DXT on the You Know What I Mean Godcast. It's a good one. And he has other interviews out there. Follow him on social media. He's on social media and all that too. He drops good game as far as the hip hop history is concerned. Many others out there too. The Dewan B, who we got coming on Wednesday, is definitely one of them.
That's gonna be
exciting. What I'm saying? So make
sure
that y'all tune in for that.
For y'all that don't know, I work the scheduling or whatever. And honestly, the way that I do it, and I feel like I need to make a better way, to be honest, but the way that I do it when I reach out to people, you know, and scheduling it, sometimes when people respond, you know, to the scheduling of the shows, it's like perfect timing to what is actually going on right now. Like right now, we're talking about music and, you know, our culture and the erasure of foundational Black Americans' contribution to music. And that's when he signed up to do the show, basically. And it just falls right in sync a lot of the times with what we're discussing. And it's not on purpose. Like, it's just right. the ancestors, the spirit,
they with us.
Be aligning. Absolutely.
They with us. That's just the way that it works, man. You know what I mean? Man plans and God laughs. You know what I'm saying? But there's higher principles that are interfering and conspiring on our behalf. And you know what I'm saying? The Most High is the best knower. So everything is working out the way that it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you know that we're doing the right thing. That's how you know that, you know what I'm saying, we are fulfilling a divine purpose. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it wouldn't work out that way.
Right.
It wouldn't work out that way. It would be a hot mess. And so we got a lot to talk about this week, man. You know, the common theme of it, like we're talking about with this whole hip hop thing, is about us valuing and owning our intellectual property and not allowing ourselves to be exploited, you know what I'm saying, by others. I heard our brother 19 Keys say this before, and it stuck with me. I think somebody said it to him and he was repeating it too, but I got it from him. Where he said black people, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said black people, we are damn, how'd he say it? He said black people, we are geniuses or brilliant or something like that. One of those words he used. He said, but the white people, they are excellent. And the difference is we come up with things out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? For instance, the whole hip hop culture. We make something out of nothing, and it just seems to come from a different realm or something. And it's just brilliant and beautiful, and it resonates with the whole world. But white people, they have excellence because they have systems in place to take advantage of that brilliance. They already have the systems and the infrastructure that is in place to be able to say, okay, niggas are spinning on their heads now. How we going to monetize that? Niggas is rapping now. Okay, how we going to monetize that? Because they can't create on their own. They don't come up with anything. They don't have that innate ingenious within them to be able to create things the way that we do. And so what they do is they come up with the systems. They come up with the record companies. They come up with the radio stations. They build the stadiums and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? To be able to display our genius, and then they take home the lion's share with them. So that's what we're focusing on today, man. Us understanding the value. Absolutely. From the beginning too. Unfortunately, niggas started selling our birthright as far as hip hop is concerned early on. This has been going on from the very beginning. As soon as any type of industry got involved and took any interest in it, niggas was lined up to sell this shit out. Unfortunately. Yeah. So again, we got to hold ourselves accountable as far as that.
Yep.
But which story you want to start with today, nyctegur?
I guess should we stay in the lines of what we're talking about as far as some music culture? You know, because we obviously have other news in here, but you know, I don't know if you want to start with something else and then segue back here.
However you want to do it, I'm with you. All
right, well, I guess we can always come back and let's just kind of hit on some points, you know, in the news, because that's what we're here to do. So I thought that this was interesting, and of course, this is in our materials. New York highest court agrees to hear Harvey Weinstein's appeal to overturn 2020 sex crime conviction. Mm-hmm. This is on CNN.com, and I just find it very interesting considering. One, all the women that came forward, a lot of them are high-profile women who had a lot of egregious, you know, stories to tell, evidence, etc. about this man. He has been convicted, but they're already talking about, and the highest court agrees to hear it. R. Kelly's still sitting up in here, though. You know, anybody? He already been convicted technically in one court, right, and got sentenced to 30 years, and still looking at other charges for sex trafficking. But anyway, I'll read a little bit. New York highest court has agreed to hear disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein's appeal challenging his 2020 conviction on sex crime charges, according to a copy of court filing provided by Weinstein's team. Appeals Chief Judge Janet DeFiore's ruling will allow Weinstein's lawyer to argue their case before the court more than 2 years after he was convicted of first-degree criminal sexual act and third-degree rape charges and sentenced to 23 years in prison. The judge on June 19th signed a certificate to grant leave, which stated that questions of law are involved which ought to be reviewed by the Court of Appeals. What? Mm-hmm. So basically, she said there's some kind of discrepancies in his conviction?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe lies told? Is that what she's saying?
They're gonna do the white and I say so. They say y'all let Bill Cosby get his thing overturned, and we gonna turn over one of ours then.
Right.
That's how they gonna play this thing. And the thing to me about this whole thing is how quiet the media is. Now this story is in CNN, but most of y'all haven't heard about it.
Right.
It's not like they got this on the 24-hour news cycle just blaring it.
It ain't been on the
You know
shade
what
room.
I'm saying? It wasn't on the shade room?
Nope.
The shade room? Wow.
No, it wasn't on the shade room.
Yeah, stuff like that is very telling because, like you said, if this was R. Kelly, you wouldn't be able to get away from it.
No. Well,
You
we
wouldn't be able
haven't
to get
been,
away from the story.
especially the shade room as well as Baller Alert. I don't know if they have someone at the court or something, but they report on every thing that goes on in the trial. You know, there's always something in one of those black blogs, right? You know, that reports on him. Always.
Right. That's a fact. And so, they're gonna look out for their own.
As they
I mean,
should.
look how much it took for us, you know what I'm saying, to bring attention to the Weinstein thing in the first place. How long was we talking about? Why ain't nobody talking about Weinstein before they actually even did anything? I'm talking about for years. Black media was reporting on Weinstein while the white media was quiet about it. Law enforcement wasn't doing anything about it. Nobody was touching the Weinstein thing. You could go back years and listen to Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, and them talking about all this stuff going on with Weinstein. You know what I'm saying?
Happening now that he's appealing his conviction. And mind you, I think he still has to go to trial here in California. I don't think that he's even gone to trial yet here in California. He was convicted in New York. He still has a trial here in California.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, moving on.
Keep our eye on that.
Absolutely, we better. We better. So I don't know if this thing is going to let me read this. I hope it doesn't keep these pop-ups. I think it's going to let me. All right, so shit. This is in the LA Times. New racist text revealed Torrance cops talked about hurting and killing black suspects. So if you're from LA, such as myself, my cousin is in the chat, so I know she's aware. Torrance PD has always been on some racist shit. My brother has been arrested out there. I'll tell a quick story. Everybody knows what's the restaurant where they cook in front of you? Not PF Chang's, just the other one, like the hibachi style. The hibachi style. Anyway, he was out there seeing some girl that wasn't black. He ain't had no business out there with that non-black. But bro, if you look at you ain't had no business. The ancestors was trying to wheel you in back then. But this was like the early 2000s. And so they had gone to dinner. They met up there. He was walking her, to her car, and or whatever. And the police pulled up on him and was like, and asked her, "Hey, are you okay?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine," or whatever. And this was I think he said she was Filipino, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they pulled up, "Are you okay?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and so they tried to keep going. It was like, "And let me see your ID." He's like, "For what?" He's not in his car. They're outside the car talking. He's walking to her car. They ended up harassing my brother. He ended up having a ticket or something like that, and they took him to jail in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And towed his car and everything. But Torrance has always been pretty notorious on some. Most black people did not like driving through there at night because you're going to get harassed one way or the other. Day or night, but specifically at night, they were really going to harass you. But I'll read some. This was published LA Times, August 25th. The day after Torrance police shot Christopher DeAndre Mitchell in 2018, his mother and a dozen of his loved ones staged a protest outside the department's headquarters. At the same time, a group of officers, including two who had killed Mitchell, were disclosing the situation via text. And here it is in quotes. "Was going to tell you all those N-word family members are all pissed off in front of the station," one wrote, according to court documents recently reviewed by the LA Times. And on here, they have a picture of the brother Christopher Mitchell, who was shot back in 2018.
Shit, tell us how you really feel.
Right? Court records show the officers later mused about what might happen once the identities of those who shot the 23-year-old became public. "Gun cleaning party at my house when they release my name," one asked.
Whoa.
"Yes, absolutely. Let's just post in your yard with lawn chairs and a firing squad," another replied.
Man.
So, yeah, 8 months ago, a Los Angeles
Now how did that leak? Does it say how they got a hold of those
right now, it
tapes?
said 8 months ago, a Los Angeles Times investigation it doesn't say actually. A portion of the racist, homophobic, here we go though, racist
Yep, you
and
see that.
homophobic. So they
You see
always
that.
try to crowbar somebody else's, shit into it. But it says a portion of the racist and homophobic text exchanged by at least a dozen Torrance police officers, a scandal that sparked an investigation by California Attorney General. It doesn't say, but you guys can read more on the LA Times. It doesn't say who leaked it. It doesn't say who leaked it.
Man. LA,
Yeah.
man. LA, man. I don't know. LA and New York, y'all competing.
Man, I'm saying, right?
I think y'all in the lead though. Keep it 100. That LA County boy.
And honestly, I just feel like, there definitely needs to be some type of overhaul in the police departments. I think random drug tests, because school bus drivers, regular city bus drivers, get random drug tests because, one, they operate vehicles and they have the responsibilities of other people's lives in their hands. I think the same thing should go within people in law enforcement. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I put the story in here, but there was a story in Stevenson's Ranch actually over the weekend where an officer who was driving drunk ran his car into someone else's house, hopped out the car and ran. There it is. Hopped out the car and ran. But they ended up catching him and he was arrested.
Let me play a little bit of that right here. Hold on. Damn, commercial.
Yeah. Those pop-ups.
All right, let me let the commercial go by.
But make sure you like it and making sure you're sharing. And if you guys, thank you guys in the chat, for, just engaging. We appreciate y'all.
I think this is it. I don't think it went to another story, but let me see.
Boyle Heights this morning.
That is where 6 people were injured in a shooting at a bar.
Yeah, that went to a whole different story. I don't know, man. I can't navigate these websites. But let me see. Stevenson's Ranch, California. A Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy was arrested on suspicion of driving while under the influence of alcohol after he crashed a patrol vehicle and briefly went missing, prompting a search. The crash happened near Pico Canyon Road and Southern Oaks Drive Friday night. Footage from the scene of the crash showed the patrol vehicle went off the road and into nearby bushes. A search for him ensued, and after the vehicle was found abandoned, the deputy, who was identified as Carlos Lopez, a member of the Sheriff's Department's Special Enforcement Bureau, was later located about a mile away from the crash scene at a home and residential neighborhood. So he's probably trying to get up with some of his police buddies to see how they can cover this shit up.
Yep. And honestly, they're saying it was a DUI. What else was he under the influence of? You may have given him a breathalyzer. We need a drug test. We need a drug test too. And what do you run for?
Footage from Air 7 HD shows the 50-year-old being wheeled from the home on a gurney and driven away in an ambulance. On Saturday, LA County Sheriff's Department said he was taken to Henry Mayo Hospital with no significant injuries. The deputy has been relieved of duty, and due to active investigation, we are unable to comment further. Okay, relieved of active duties, but if it was me, I'll be relieved of my freedom.
Period.
So how does that work?
Right. Yeah. And active duty, so that means that he's on paid leave, right?
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like to me. So he's sitting at home chilling and still collecting a check off our tax dollars.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Little vacation.
Right. And they'll still figure out a way, to give him a slap on the wrist and allow him back on force. He's going to have to take some classes, just like the sensitivity, training that they have to take when they do something racist against us, something silly like that.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that reminder too, PD Chicago. I do have the fair use disclaimer inside the description as well. So anything that we use from one of these major news stations, we claim it fair use, family. We just doing commentary here.
Reporting the news. And I have to me, this is a very disturbing article. This is in thefederalist.com. As of FBA mother, of a school age child, DC schools enroll illegal immigrants while kicking Black students to the curb for refusing the COVID jab.
Yeah,
Not only that, she's also saying that, because obviously in the heart of COVID, when all kids were doing homeschool, basically, remote, they're not even allowed to do that. If the parents want to just keep them remote, she's saying, no, you can't be remote. You have to get the jab in order for your Black kids to go to school. Are these illegal aliens getting the jab?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. They not. They coming over here and they getting prioritized without going through any of the scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? They just, okay, you here, let's get you some ID, let's get you in school, let's get you some food stamps, what else you need? You know what I'm saying?
Have y'all noticed too, when they're getting off these buses and stuff like that, have y'all noticed that they all have a manila folder, one of those yellow manila folders, I guess, with their documents? Like, what are y'all giving them? Did y'all already drop them off to the DMV first to get them identification and birth certificates and all this shit first?
Remember, we did a story a couple of weeks ago where they were saying just that. They were saying just that. They're figuring out ways to fast track getting them ID as soon as they get here. Meanwhile, you and I need six pieces of proof to get an ID at the DMV. You know what I'm saying? You got to prove that you live where you say you live at. You are who you say you are. As soon as they get across the border, it's like, okay, let's figure out what we could do to get them their ID.
Right. I'm just saying. And mind you, this mayor wears our uniform, you guys. So this is what Black representation looks like, I guess. Anyway, Washington, D.C. public schools will begin the process of enrolling illegal immigrants for the upcoming school year while simultaneously barring students who did not receive the experimental COVID shot for attending school altogether. And again, fair use. I'm just reading the article. According to the Daily Caller, the program can enroll 40 illegal immigrants in Washington schools for the fall school year, with DC Public Schools, Chancellor Louis D. Farabee, saying that the district will ensure the students have access to services needed, and if they reside in a particular area, the district will ensure that they have access to their neighborhood school.
Right. And now the thing that really threw me off about the story too was we now have major news outlets coming out admitting, what we've been saying for a long time with a lot of people like, Reza Islam, the information that they've been bringing for a long time about this whole plandemic. They're basically admitting, that what we were saying, it was right all along. And you know what I'm saying? This doesn't really stop any transmissions or doesn't prevent anything at all. It has no efficacy. And so how is this this policy enforceable under these circumstances? You know what I'm saying? When you have the top brass now admitting that, hey, we was wrong.
Black parents sue her ass, sue the city school, sue the school district. Where are the Black lawyers at? I need to know I would prefer them to be Black, but if they're not Black and they're here to represent, these families, for the discrimination that they're receiving from this mayor as well as the school district, get involved and support these families and make sure that they get the, legal representation that they need, because this just does not make sense. We have, the Biden administration right now talking about giving illegal aliens, people that fled their homeland illegally here, talking about giving them $450,000, right? When they were in those, I guess, camps, if you will. They were very nice, by the way. They were fed nicely. They were housed nicely. But anyway, they're talking about giving them $450,000, for being held there. Yet we're still screaming at this point, about reparations for the descendants of slaves here in America. And you got people that broke the law to come here being basically rewarded. These people right here are being rewarded with education, with housing, with food stamps, with medical care. You know what I'm saying? With identification, all kinds of benefits, unearned benefits that should be going to us, or at least the American people here in the U.S. that need it. 55%, 55, 56% of the homeless population here in Los Angeles are Black men. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure in DC as well, the population of homelessness is over 50% Black, freedmen, foundational Black American. Why aren't those resources going to them? Why aren't the American people being prioritized with those same benefits? Where's the bus to pick them up to go get IDs? You know what I'm saying? There's homeless children out there in some of those homeless camps too now. Where's that at?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And these are your Democrats, man. These are your lefties.
Yep.
Over here. You know what I'm saying? And I know, I agree with you. You would prefer Black lawyers to be on this type of time, but honestly, you better off, you know what I'm saying, finding a non-Black person who is more right-wing leaning, you know what I'm saying, that's not scared, you know what I'm saying, to go out there and represent, the parents who are in these situations. Like, this shit is like ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, I believe that the family should sue. I definitely believe that there's some type of lawsuit, because there's no way, especially under the circumstances where you have the people from the top coming down and saying what that jab really didn't do at this point. You know what I'm saying? So.
All right. And don't let them pressure y'all either. Don't let them pressure y'all with this shit either. Just say no. I don't care what they tell you. You know what I'm saying? Just say no. And at the end of the day, if you gotta do what you gotta do, homeschool. Link up with some other parents that's in the same situation, and y'all figure out what y'all can do together to get these babies their education. But don't take that poison.
Right.
I'm gonna just say that.
Too. A lot of times people say, well, a lot of people can't afford homeschool. I can't afford it. Readjust your budget if you have to, because this is your baby's lives. You know what I'm saying? One time when I was heavy on Starbucks. And one day I just decided, let me see how much money I spend. I went on my bank statement and calculated a whole month of just Starbucks, just for that month. Do y'all know I was over $300? Because sometimes I was going more than once a day. Not even tripping. Wasn't even tripping about it. Like, it's $3, $4, you know what I'm saying? I got it. And you're doing this one time a day, 5 days a week, or 7 days a week, or sometimes multiple times a day. I was like, what the hell? That's like some people's car payment.
Shit definitely adds up, man.
Yeah. So sometimes it's just, adjusting your budget, seeing some things that you may be spending on that you don't need, and invest that in your kids.
Right. We can figure it out, man.
We can figure it out. We can figure everything out. All right, so moving on. So this is in WFLP.org. Louisville protesters remember Chris Wells, a leader in the racial injustice movement. I thought this was an interesting article. Chris Wells, a leading voice in Louisville movement for social and racial justice, has died. He was 33 years old. Louisville Metro Police Department statement said authorities found Wells' body at his home on Sunday afternoon. The department investigation and subsequent interviews determined his death was suicide. I remember this. His mom was also an organizer. If I'm not mistaken, I believe his mom was also an organizer as well. And she felt like something foul obviously happened. She knew that her child would not do anything like that, and this was some type of retaliation situation. If I'm not mistaken, I just recall his mom was also, an organizer as well.
Okay, and I never heard of this brother, but this is out there in Louisville, right?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, I'm mixing that up with St. Louis. I'm thinking about Ferguson.
No, Louisville is Kentucky.
Okay, yeah, okay. Because you remember all of those activists were popping up dead in mysterious ways out there from Ferguson.
And that
brought that to mind.
Let me see. I want to say maybe this one isn't, but Wells helped sustain months of protests and continued demands for justice following the 2020 police killing of Breonna Taylor. Earlier this month, he took a moment to reflect on the federal charges for current and former police officers facing the role of the deadly raid on her home. Most of us are still struggling and going through different things since that day. You know what I'm saying? And just to hear this news, it doesn't matter if I lost everything. This is the reason why we come out fighting to get justice, to get those cops arrested. Well said. So this just showing him and other demonstrators outside protesting and stuff like that. But I just wanted to this story, to bring his name out again. This man is no longer with us. I don't believe that he committed suicide. It doesn't make sense to me that someone that fights for their people, that love, their people the way that he did and showed, wants to kill themselves all of a sudden. It just doesn't make sense, especially by hanging. Not to say that Black people do not commit suicide, but hanging is just something that, especially with foundational Black Americans, is not our thing. It's too much, historical, shit with that. Hanging, it was just not our thing. And so I'm siding with his family and the other people out there that he did not do that.
Yeah, so RP to that brother, and condolences to the family and all of the folks out there supporting. Yeah, that's a sad story.
Very.
I haven't heard Ty anything recently like this. I remember a few years ago there was people popping up hanging from trees, and they were just saying it was suicide, trees and bridges and all type of shit.
Yeah.
And they were saying it was suicide. But I haven't seen anything recently. If you got anything, send it to us. Send it to us.
There was just one. I think I sent it a couple weeks ago here in California, in Griffith Park. Someone was found hanging in a tree on fire, and they said that this person committed suicide.
I did see that. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
They did all that. Superman up here. Yeah. And my thing is, how are you already ruling it? You just got there. Like they were still putting the fire out, and the first statement was suicide.
Right.
So yeah,
man.
The math ain't math. The math ain't math. All right, Yahoo News, and this is Yahoo Sports News, by the way. So, Bills release punter Matt Ariaza following alleged gang rape of a minor. So, white Hispanic Bill Ariaza, who plays for the Bills. I don't know what that is. Like the Bills, is that
Buffalo Bills? Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills has released Matt Ariaza 2 days after filing a civil suit alleging rookie punter and two former San Diego State teammates gang raped a minor in 2001. Bills announced the move Saturday evening following mounting scrutiny about when the team was made aware of the allegations against Ariaza and what diligence had been done regarding the litigation he's facing. Ariaza traveled with the Bills to Carolina for a team's final preseason game on Friday against the Panthers, but he was held out of action as the Bills deliberated on his future. If these damn pop-ups don't stop. So yeah, I mean, I know that, because he doesn't wear our uniform, you don't hear a lot about it, but I will tell you that on Facebook, which is interesting, on Facebook, they were reporting it on one of those news pages on Facebook, and they made sure that they found 3 suspects, 2 Hispanic, 1 Black. That's a part of this. They got the Black one all up on there. They had him, Ariaza, but his was like the smaller one. They blew up, the Black one.
Man!
I kid you not. I
should have sent that link. Yeah.
It was crazy, but it's 3 people involved, 2 Hispanic guys and 1 Black guy.
What's their last name? What's his last name?
I don't even remember. I should have took a screenshot of it.
Yeah, that's important to know.
Yeah.
That's important to know. Everybody got a whole they own. There's a lot of foreign nationals in the NFL nowadays.
And the NBA.
Right. Oh man. And the thing is, it's a lot of white dudes in the NFL that got rape charges and rape accusations and all of that the league capes for them.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't get drugged through the news at all. A lot of them are still playing. So, yeah.
Don't forget the domestic violence as well.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times when they have the domestic violence situations, it's them, with their little bed wenches. You know what I'm saying? They get protected. So this is going to be in USA Today. Very disturbing. Birmingham young fan. Why are these pop-ups? Lord, stop. Even on my phone. Okay. Brigham young fan banned after directing racial slurs toward Duke volleyball player. Have you guys heard that story of the black volleyball player over at Duke?
I have.
So Brigham Young University said a fan has been banned, for directing racial slurs at a Duke volleyball player during the match on Friday in Provo, Utah. BYU says the fan was not a student, although he sat in the student section. The school released a statement Saturday afternoon apologizing to Duke and its students athletes. Now, by the way, it took them a while to do that, and I think that this was pressure from social media because yesterday when I put this in here, I think I put this in here today actually, but yesterday, the day before yesterday, people were going in because Duke had not said anything, made any type of statement of apology to her. We had known that this person was removed from the game, suspended from all games, none of that stuff. We had no idea what was going on. So I guess, with all the social media, push, they finally had to make a statement and say something. And of course, he was in the student section, but not a student.
Yeah, that's what they say.
That's what they said.
And now she's the only black starter on the team.
Yes.
She was called, nigger, all type of racist slurs. She was threatened, all type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? They didn't remove the racists from the crowd. Duke, as a team, didn't refuse to play. Nope. The home team that they were playing against didn't do anything about it. So it's like just all around the board, there was nobody coming to the aid of this young girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the only black face over here, and you're just vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? And everybody just acting like this is just another day at the game, another volleyball game. Just keep going. And she probably, I don't know how good she is, but she probably holding that team down.
Right. Let's keep it a buck.
You know what I'm saying? You're a starter on the team, and you're the only black one, so that means you good. I'm gonna just assume that you're probably the best one there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Duke need to be held accountable. The Brigham school or whatever that school that they was at need to be held accountable. Yep. Both coaches, the faculty, the security that's in charge, like everybody, man. And the thing about it is, I only heard about it on social media. This wasn't being talked about in the mainstream like that. And it was her aunt, who is an attorney, who kind of got the ball rolling to get the story any type of momentum. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, hopefully they get something done for that young girl. She cut her a check.
Right.
Cut her a check. That's pain and suffering.
Yeah, pain and suffering. And before we get into like our main topic, I wanted to go over one more news article, maybe two. But I just want to say shout out to this sister Tabitha Brown.
Yes.
I don't know,
this one actually goes with the main theme. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
about intellectual property and all that. Yeah.
Intellectual property. Let's do it. So this is in the Daily News. Tabitha Brown refuses to change as Food Network explicitly pulls her new show, It's Complicated, from the primetime lineup. Complicated, sorry. Things have gotten quite complicated between Tabitha Brown and the Food Network. The reasons unknown, the social media superstar's new vegan-based competition series, It's Complicated, has been abruptly pulled from the primetime slot and moved to weekly afternoons. So that was it. I saw some, at least it's not coming on. All right, here's read more. Maybe it is more.
It's probably just, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Brown opened up on social media this week with her frustrations of working with individuals and companies who are trying to change her amid her new found success as actress, vegan, good influencer, author, and fashion designer. I know I've said this so many times before, but for whatever reason, people don't seem to believe me. Okay, she started off her video message. There is not a company out there. Wait. Oh God, stop. Literally, I got a
It's all.
pop-up, yo. Wait a minute.
It's all. It's all good. It's all good.
It's just annoying, these damn things. Okay, where did I go? There is not a company there. There's not a company. There is not a network. There is not a person, place, or thing that is going to change who I am. Without naming, Brown lambasted those who may have been critical about the genteel personality, Southern comfort, sophistication, and Afrocentric fashion sensibility that many fans love for her. So basically, they probably said, straighten your hair, put a wig on, maybe, change your dialect, instead of sounding so country or Southern, we want you to whiten it up a little bit.
And the thing about it is, man, I love her stance. I love her statement. It shows that this is a woman who actually understands her. She understands her value. She understands her worth. And she's like, yo, look, this is who I am. If y'all didn't want to do business with me, go find somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool over here. It shows that she's not desperate also. She's not willing to do whatever just to be accepted, just to get the check, just to get, whatever comes with being on a major network or whatever. It's like, okay, it's a blessing. I'm willing to do the show with y'all, but only if you want me for who I am. I'm not going to make all these adjustments for your audience. I'm not going to try to, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about understanding your value, knowing your worth, and really, hopefully, and see, this is the thing that I'm not really sure about. I was trying to see if they said anything about it in the story, which they didn't. But they moved the time from a regular prime time slot to some other time during the day when everybody's at work and shit like that. And so obviously she didn't have no control over that. So I'm wondering, how much control or ownership she has over the actual content.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's important too. That part is important too, because if she actually owns her content, then she could take it elsewhere and do a deal with somebody else.
And honestly, she should. I mean, my thing is stay on YouTube. With this, the check may not be as big, but at least you get to control it, and you can engage with, your audience on your own. I mean, do something else, take your shit somewhere else. But I still love the fact that she stood on her square and was like, no, well, if I have to change, then y'all can take y'all contract and shove it. I'll move on. I'm gonna be all right.
Exactly. And this is another reason why, we as a people have to be repaired. And, this economic empowerment thing is not a game, because we need to be in a position where we have our own systems and companies where we could find talent like a Tabitha Brown and give them the deal that they want, because we're going to value them for who they are. We're not going to be trying to change them and remix them and, right, make them cater to a different audience. We see somebody like that who's doing fly shit. We're fine with them being exactly who they are. So we have to be in a position to be able to offer them the same amount of equity that one of these white companies can offer them, you know what I'm saying, as far as contracts are concerned. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where our demand for our repair comes into play at. We have to be able to compete, you know what I'm saying, out here. And so that our people, because a lot of time, everybody's not going to have the integrity that this woman displayed. This is the reason why you get a lot of coons out here who don't represent us properly, because a lot of people are just desperate.
Yeah.
And there is no alternative. There is no other people in your own community that you could turn to get the same deal. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, this is my only shot, whatever. I'll have to take a couple fingers in the booty hole.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And put some cake soap on, what I'm saying? Let me get this check I can tan later. So yeah, shout out to Tabitha Brown, for holding it down there. This one is from ABC News 7, I believe. Right. Is that what this is? Yeah. So Maryland twins who started Blue Crab delivery during pandemic opens first restaurant. Shout out to these beautiful sisters. This article came out on August the 25th, and they're in Maryland, Columbia, Maryland. So if anybody out there in Columbia, Maryland, make sure you support these sisters' business. Maryland twins who were laid off during the pandemic are celebrating 2-year anniversary of owning their own business. Ray and La Middleton are welcoming customers to the first restaurant R&L Crab Company, which just opened in Columbia, Maryland.
And crabs is like a big deal down there.
I
like,
heard.
You know
I didn't know that Maryland was known for their seafood like that.
Yeah. Like people travel all over the world to go there just for crabs. So
yeah, I didn't know that.
That's a hellified niche for them to have out there.
You know, I was speaking to a client at work, and we were just shooting a breeze, and I was like, yeah, you know, and she had that Maryland, that accent like Dr. Mott, like
that Baltimore accent.
Baltimore, yeah. It was like, oh, it was just so deep. And I was talking to her, I was like, I just love it. Like, you know, we're chopping it up or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually supposed to be, you know, kind of in the DC area, hoping, you know, for the Foundation of Black American Rally or whatever. You know, in October. I said, but I want to definitely come to Maryland. And she was like, when you come to Maryland, make sure you come for the seafood. And so that was my first time knowing or hearing that that's what they were known for, was their seafood. She told me that they have the best crab cakes ever are in Maryland. I don't know how true that is. Don't know how true that is, because Marcel says that the best seafood and crab cakes are in South Carolina. But this sister said the best crab cakes and seafood is in Maryland. So I can't wait to come on both sides and check it out.
Hey, well, you know, they had some of the Gullah Geechees and some of the Gullah Geechees that was escaping from slavery going in both directions too. Well, actually, they was coming from South Carolina, but a lot of them went to those swamp areas down there in the DMV area too. Also, you know what I'm saying? So it's probably the same people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's probably the same people, and it's along that eastern seaboard coast. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. They're gonna have to duke it out.
Well,
but I always hear about Baltimore, Maryland area as far as seafood and crabs and all that.
I did not know, and I recently discovered this with her. But definitely, if you guys are in that area, support these sisters. I will be reaching out because I want to see if we can get them on the Black Business Showcase.
Yeah, let's get them.
Let's get them, and with y'all help, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what to do.
Yeah, tell them holla at us, man. We need to talk to them. We need to get all up in their Black business.
All up in it. Let's get all up in it. Where we gonna go next? I don't want to do that.
My dude with the free T-shirt. Where he at?
Oh, let's go. I found him. I think. Let me scroll. Is he up? There we go. So yes, I got him. And shout out to our brother Raheem Shabazz, who posted this on his timeline. And he looks like he got it from the Shade Room, actually.
Yeah, I think they posted it. Yeah.
But we'll go ahead and talk about it anyway. So this guy, Lamont Torrey is his name, and he's a fashion designer. At the start of 2019, after losing a friend to a long battle with addiction, I released a line called Struggle and Comment. My goal was to remind people that they're not alone and to encourage them to face their problems head on if they truly wish to be free. Days after releasing a black crew neck with free across the chest in a variety of fonts, I wore it to an extremely private party in Los Angeles. In attendance were some of the most famous people in the world, as well as some of the most influential names in the fashion industry and beyond. I had a effing blast. Throughout the evening, I received several compliments and had more than a few conversations about the meaning behind my sweatshirt. Fast forward to August 2021, a bunch of people began tagging me in a Vanity Fair video, which featured Diddy, now known as Love, wearing what I knew to be my design. While everyone was congratulating me, I was scratching my head with confusion. Shortly after, I was sent a video of the baby wearing the shirt. Then Puerto Rican rapper Anul. At this point, it became apparent that someone had clearly borrowed, and that's in quotations, he borrowed my design, but I had no idea who. That is until recently when multiple friends sent me a link to Balenciaga's website where they were selling the exact same black crew neck as well as multiple variations of my design for up to 25 times the price that he was charging, basically. Then I started receiving tag ads on my phone trying to sell me what was clearly mine. Strange. I say all this to say, if anyone knows anyone at Balenciaga, can you please have them reach out to me? We need to have a conversation. All too often, the little people get stepped on by the big brands, and I just want to ensure that this is not another example of that, but rather just a big misunderstanding. Thanks for listening. There was no damn misunderstanding.
Right.
That was colonization again of a brand.
This goes back to what we saying, man. You know what I'm saying? Understanding your value, owning your intellectual property. You know, we had a sister on here last season who was an attorney, you know, talking about trademarks and what do you call it, copyrights and trademarks and all of that stuff. Having your business in order before you go out showing it all, especially, you know, in a situation like that. You know, he's at this big fashion event. He's around all of these people from the industry that he's trying to get into, showing off his stuff, which is cool, but make sure you have your business in order first. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to be the first one that they stole the idea from and ran with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand who we are as a people in the first place, not even just you as an individual with your idea, but just understanding your culture that you come from. You are the progenitor of culture. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get their swag from us. So when you come up with something fly and you in a position, you know, to have those type of eyes on you, you have to make sure that your business is in order because they're going to snatch it up.
Right. And look at that. You know, all those, you know, white people he was around, smiling, showing all 32 teeth, you know, but I hope that he does get his business in order. I hope that, you know, Balenciaga, you know, makes good on their mistake or misunderstanding, and I'm quotes, right? Yeah, and give this brother his just due. And again, like you said, get that business in order. And while we're talking about that, I do have the link to Chantel Law. She did a blog on intellectual property back on May 31st, 2019. Yeah. And again, just talking about the importance, you know, of your intellectual property, the importance of trademarking. You know, all this is so important. I think we'd be so quick to just wear it and let me see if people are gonna gravitate to it. And obviously they did, and they went and bought and charged 25% more than or 25 times more than what you were.
$800 and something dollars for that shirt they were selling. $800 something dollars.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing, man. Like, you know, you could tell this is a brother that wants to be in those circles. You know what I'm saying? He obviously looks up to those brands and those people, and you could tell even still he really don't want to rock the boat like that. You know what I'm saying? He's like, you know, I know what it looks like, but hopefully this is not one of those situations and we could just make it right. Like, I ain't trying to make too much noise, but can I get a little piece of that? Can I get a little piece of that action? You know, let me in and I'll be quiet.
I would have came out the hollering.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I still hope the brother get, you know, his just due, but damn, brother.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? This stuff happens all the time, man. All the time. Hold on. See what y'all talking about in the chat.
Who's that?
What's going on, Breeze? Yep.
Are you going to the house?
No, somewhere in LA.
Yep, exactly. Oh, DJ RP Beats in the building. What's going on?
Peace, brother.
What's going on? Yeah, man. You got to trademark your stuff. You got to have your business in order and make them put respect on your shit, man. Make them put respect on your shit. There was a story coming out of Nigeria too, where
oh yeah.
What was it?
where they were not going to be using, like, I guess, white models or advertisements in their on their TV
voiceovers and stuff. Yeah. So
stop selling cake soap too. Then pull cake soap out the stoves. If you're gonna do it, go big or go home.
Yeah. So Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria said the move is aimed. Nigerian government placed ban on using foreign models, voiceover artists, and advertisements. And so the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria said the move is aimed at developing local talent and promoting economic growth in the country's advertising industry. In a statement released to the media, the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria said all advertisements, advertising, and marketing communication materials targeted or exposed on the Nigerian advertising space are to use only Nigerian models and voiceover artists, advertisers, advertisement agencies, media houses, advertising community, and the general public hereby enjoined to take note. So yeah, taking ownership and giving the opportunities to your own people, rather than outsourcing it because you're trying to have a certain image that fits in with your damn colonizers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Embrace accept your own and be yourself. You know what I'm saying? So this is a good move. I respect that. Accept your own and be yourself and preserve those opportunities and resources for your own people, just like everybody else does.
Except us.
Except us.
Except us. We have to just keep it real. That's not a dig or a jab. Like, I think the more that we hear
it, because it includes us too.
Yeah, it includes us too. And the more that we hear, and see the mistakes that we made by sharing our culture with everyone, and then having these very people that you welcomed, into the mix or whatever, telling you that trying to erase you and blatantly saying what they did before you, no, this is something that we should have did a long time ago. And I guess that'll take us to hotnewhiphop.com.
I want to go to South Africa.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
I think that kind of ties in more because I love what they're doing also. The South Africans, they have a similar situation to ours going on in their country as far as tethers. They got a tether problem out there. You know what I'm saying? And they got a movement called Put South Africa First. You know what I'm saying? Which is similar to us, regulating ourselves as foundational Black Americans and prioritizing our needs before we do the kumbaya thing. I'm looking for it in here. I don't see it.
It's right above KRS-One.
Oh, damn. So it got to be. I think I went too far. Where is that thing? Let me go back to the bottom. All right, let me see. So, yeah, I think this story ties in just right. Oh, yeah, here you go. Let me put this back on the screen. And yeah, shout out to the South Africans for taking this stance, man. This is important. They're doing the same thing that we doing over here. Hold on, my bad. It opened up another link, so I gotta stop sharing this.
Well, that was
because it's on Twitter. That's why. It's because it's on Twitter. So it takes you to Twitter. So it's okay. I got it right here. Let me just stop sharing that and reshare this page. All right. Got to make people put respect on your goddamn name, man. That's just the long and short of it.
Oh, and you're home.
Can y'all see it?
Yeah, I can. That's nice.
All right.
We're in China City.
Because it does not give back to our people.
He said we're in China City. This is in South Africa. So the same way they got Chinatowns all over the U.S., they got China City out here in South Africa. And listen to what the man is saying. I know his accent is kind of thick, but listen to what the man is saying.
What will be the purpose of this business to run? Let our people that being a buying power in this business is just sitting in a township. If you can see, the majority who are here are Black South Africans. They are supporting you highly, but you don't want to give back to our people.
So he's talking to the Asian man, the Chinese man that's out there saying, you know, look at all of these black people out here who support your businesses, and you don't want to do anything to give back to the very people who are supporting you. You know what I'm saying? You got a China city in South Africa, and they saying enough is enough.
But I'm looking here, it's all foreign nationals here. They occupy what we deserve in our country. We fought for this country. We fought for this freedom. There's too many people who died. There's bloodshed that took place in the past decade. We cannot allow you people to come in our country and treat our country in a lawlessness. This country is a country of law. And we are telling you all foreign nationals, starting to know from today, you must go fix your country.
He said, y'all need to go fix y'all countries. Y'all coming over here with lawlessness. Y'all disrespecting the natives here. And he's not just talking to the Chinese. Some of the black faces that you see inside the circle, Nigerians, Zimbabweans, people who from other African nations who come there and tether off of the South Africans there, the same way that they do here.
Yep.
And he's saying y'all need to go home and fix y'all homelands, and then we can work with y'all. We're going to focus on South Africa. Y'all need to go back home and focus on y'all problems back at home instead of coming over here, bringing all of your garbage over here and dumping it on us.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Extremely familiar.
Don't fix your country. There is no war in your country. Why are you coming in our country and become lawlessness in our country? You came here, we accepted you as guests, but today you are no longer a guest, you are criminal in our country. You are destroying our country. If you're not doing human trafficking, you're also doing hijacking in our country. And then you cannot do all of that in your own country. What you see in our country, that we cannot do in your country. If your countries are saying Zimbabwean for Zimbabwean, why not us, not South African for South African? We are saying Nigerian for Nigerian, Mozambican for Mozambican, China for China. We don't care who you are in this country. If you came illegal here with no proper documents, you must go back to your country. We have treated our country like cabals. We have treated our country like there is no country here. There is a country, we have a government here.
So yeah, man, shout out to the South Africans, man.
They delineating.
Yes.
They delineating.
They delineating heavy. They said, listen, I don't care if you're from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Mozambique. Y'all need to go home and fix your goddamn homeland. We accepted y'all. Y'all coming over here being disrespectful.
Right. He said
sound just like us.
He said the things that you come over here to do, you can't even do in your own homeland.
Exactly.
But you bringing it here to us. No. I mean, sounds very, very familiar. You know, it just puts everything, not that we needed it, but sometimes you need something like that to say, see, we weren't lying. We weren't making this shit up. Right. This is exactly what we're experiencing every day.
And I was listening to a space one time. I think it was a Secure the Tribe space. And they were talking to some of the South Africans, and they were talking about how there's a issue going on with the passport system over there, where they got people coming from Mozambique and Zimbabwe and all of these places, and they're able to get South African passports, fake South African passports with fake names. And I guess there's still a lot of white people that's in charge over there in South Africa, and the white people can't tell the difference. Y'all just all niggas to the white people. So they can't really tell the difference by their accents and their culture and all of that. And so these people are committing crimes under the guise of being South Africans when really they're from somewhere else. So all the crimes and all of the nonsense that they're doing is being dumped on the South Africans, but these are foreign nationals, as they call them, who are actually committing these crimes. And they're traveling abroad also with those passports. So they're getting a South African passport which South Africa has better relations with the West because they still basically have an apartheid system over there. And so with the South African passport, you can easily travel to Western countries. So now you have somebody who's from Zimbabwe who doesn't have international relationships like that. A Zimbabwean wouldn't be able to get to the United States or the UK as easily as a South African would. So they go to South Africa, get these fake passports, and then they come over here posing as South Africans, doing all this international crime and all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's real deep what's going on, man.
Which explains our crime numbers.
Right.
Because lately, if you know, since we've been delineating, when they, post something on any of these news platforms, it'll just say black, and this is Foundation of Black Americans. Is like, hold on, when they release a name, that ain't us.
Right.
That's a such and such. That's a Caribbean immigrant, or that's an African immigrant. That is not us. But they're quick to just put black.
That's why I asked you about that football player that was down with that white Hispanic.
Right.
Like, what's his last name? I don't know. Is he one of ours or what?
Right. It honestly, I remember it wasn't something that sound foreign, but let's be very, very clear. In certain parts of the Caribbean, they have last names such as Johnson and Jackson and things like that. So sometimes you can't tell.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. We checking passports around here. Nigga.
Checking passports.
We looking in your background around here. We not holding everybody's garbage and allowing all the crime and the filth to be dumped on us. Nope. Everybody gonna have to hold their own trash.
Where your grandmama from? I don't even know where your parents from, because they could have been born here. Where your grandmama from? Where your grandmammy and granddaddy from? At this point, we need to go back. We gotta go back a little further nowadays. All right, so hotnoonhiphop.com. Y'all favorite person as of late.
Who that?
That Joe receives backlash for saying hip hop was created by both blacks and Latinos. Who agrees with that? Let me see a number 7 in the chat.
Don't put no 7 for that shit.
I don't think anybody's gonna agree.
Oh man, no, you know what? You will get some people who agree, because like I said, the way the hip hop history has been told has been put in this mythological fantasy form, and so there's a lot of people that believe that it was blacks and Puerto Ricans, because Puerto Ricans were there. They just happened to be in the Bronx at the time. You know what I'm saying? So they get credit by proxy. But the thing that we have to clear up is not who was there, who was doing backspins and pop locking, but where does it originate from? Who are the originators?
What's their name?
You know what I'm saying?
What's their name?
We cannot trace this. We cannot trace not one single element of hip hop back to any of these people's homelands, whether it's Jamaica or Puerto Rico. We don't find people in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s breakdancing, doing graffiti, none of this stuff, rapping, none of this stuff. We have receipts of foundational Black Americans for the last 100 years doing all of these things. And it goes beyond that, but I'm just talking about what we actually can pull up video of. We can actually show videos and pictures of foundational Black Americans doing this stuff before there was a such term as hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So this stuff that Fat Joe and Busta Rhymes been talking about, it's not a victimless crime. It's not a trivial thing. This is something that we have to take very seriously, and we got to put the gates up. Who the hell left the gate open?
Man.
Who the hell left the gate open?
What was his name? Something.
Franklin, C.L. Franklin.
Was it Franklin? I thought it was something.
What that said? That's that line. Ain't his name C.L. Franklin, Reverend C.L. Franklin or something like that? I think it's C.L. Franklin.
Cleveland. I thought it was something Cleveland.
Maybe, yeah, I think the C stand for Cleveland.
Yeah, something. But yeah,
who the hell left the gate open? Y'all remember that commercial back in the day, back in the 90s and all that?
Who the hell left the gate open? Like, seriously. And you know what's crazy?
What the letter's talking about, Breeze?
What's his name? You know, Busta. I saw a video on Twitter. He was doing some sit down with someone, and he was just talking about how basically Black Americans are cultureless, and he has more camaraderie with Latinos and you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting here like, and he was like, and everybody in my camp, he was like, I'm, you know, from Jamaica. You know, my DJ is from Trinidad. My musical engineer is from such, like, he named all Caribbean countries. Like, basically, I don't fuck with y'all. Like, everybody that I'm bringing on is my people. I'm about to find it.
It's on my page. But I think you got two different videos mashed together in your head. I think part of what you were saying was from the Busta Rhymes video, and the other part you were saying was from Grandmaster Caz video.
Probably.
But it's been a lot going on this week as far as that. But I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play the Busta Rhymes video for people who haven't seen it. But just know that you guys, I've been wanting to do a broadcast specifically on this the last couple of days. I just haven't been in the right space to do it. But I will be doing a broadcast one day this week, maybe tomorrow. Y'all let me know what's a good night. Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday we got the Black Business Showcase.
Yeah, so Monday. Can you do it tomorrow? Can you do it Tuesday?
I can do it. I want to know what works for the family. I want to know what works better for the family. Which day would y'all like me to do it? Because I'm going to do a whole breakdown talking about the origins of hip hop, and you know what I'm saying, getting some of the straightening that needs to be had as far as this stuff that Fat Joe, Busta Rhymes, Crazy Legs, and these guys been out here saying. And Crazy Legs was on my page on Instagram. Yeah, he was on my page going back and forth for a minute because I guess some people had tagged him in my post. I put up the post with Busta Rhymes, and people tagged Crazy Legs. People, other black people who were saying, nah, Puerto Ricans was down with this, and they tagging Crazy Legs to co-sign what they saying. And so Crazy Legs was commenting back and forth. And I don't troll niggas. You know what I'm saying? I don't be doing no name calling. I stick to what we talking about, and I just bring in receipts and facts. And then when he couldn't debunk me, he just ended up blocking me. And then he went on his page. He went on his page and he made a couple of videos talking about it. And then Fat Joe was going in on Twitter, and I tagged him in my post on Twitter also. And then Fat Joe blocked me on Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But let me let y'all hear what Busta Rhymes was saying. And this was a couple of years ago, I think, when he said this. But he's been doubling down lately.
Yes, with the disrespect.
We're the multicultural, because the U.S. ain't got no culture. They shit is all our shit. A bunch of our shit is what makes the U.S. whatever you want to call it. We still don't know what that culture is for the U.S., but it's a mix-up of all of our cultures. And in the urban community, you know, the Latino and the West Indian.
Let me see. I think I found a better way to do it.
In the United States, we're the multicultural, because the U.S. ain't got no culture. They shit is all our shit. A bunch of our shit is what makes the U.S. whatever you want to call it. We still don't know what that culture is for the U.S., but it's a mix-up of all of our cultures. And in the urban community, you know, the Latino and the West Indian has the greatest influence, and we've always had, and we'll always will. And it's just been that way. So I've actually been influenced by the Latino community, which allows me to feel that much more comfortable putting my West Indian influence in my music, because they made me feel that much more proud to be like, yeah, man, these are Jamaican, and I say it. But I'm just saying, a lot of the times, it ain't until you're made to feel comfortable giving it to the people who and what you really are, what your influences are, your upbringing in the house, that you do it. So, you know, being that I've been made to feel comfortable doing it, I think I also got to acknowledge and credit the Latinos for their influence on me.
We're going to have a national Coons conference at FDMG. Yes, brothers and sisters, we have to have a national Coons conference.
Oh boy, Dr. Umar be having some great stuff, because I be using this against my family. Some of that stuff, I ain't gonna lie, some of his videos.
Yeah, his one-liners is legendary.
Yes.
But let me just say this, man. So if you pay attention, if you look behind him, he's at the Urban Latin Music Festival. It's called Sofrito. He's at an Urban Latin music festival. So they're celebrating, you know, whatever Latin so-called influence on urban culture. And urban means black. You know what I'm saying? And so he's over there kissing Sofrito ass is basically what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? But he's contradicting himself in his own speech when you listen closely, because he's saying how Latinos and Caribbeans, and this is one thing, a lot of people are trying to say that he was talking about white people when he say Americans don't have no culture. He's talking about the white Americans don't have no culture. But he goes on to specify that the dominant culture comes from Caribbeans and Latinos. So that excludes foundational Black America. If he was just talking about white people, he would just say the culture comes from Black people. Because even if you want to credit Caribbeans and Latinos, you're going to only give credit to the Black ones. You know what I'm saying? So if he would have just said Americans ain't really got no culture, it really comes from Black folks, then that would be like an all-inclusive thing. And he'd be like, okay, I see what he was saying there. But he was specifying Caribbeans and Latinos. We're the ones that bring the culture over here because Americans ain't got no culture. So that's specifically excluding foundational Black Americans. But then he contradicts himself because he goes on to say it was the Puerto Ricans that put the battery in his back to give him the courage to rep his Jamaican side, because he was a closeted Jamaican. Because why would you be a closeted Jamaican if y'all are the dominant influence? If Jamaicans are the ones who's bringing all the swag and the influence and all of that, why would you be keeping that a secret? Because a lot of people didn't know Busta Rhymes was Jamaican in the beginning of his career.
I didn't know.
A lot of people didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until later on when he started using his accent in some of his songs and all of that, and collaborating with Sean Paul and people like that. That was later on. Remember, Busta Rhymes been out since the late 80s, early 90s. He's not new. When he was with LONS, Leaders of the New School, and Tribe and all of that stuff, nobody knew he was Jamaican. And he admits that he was kind of keeping that on the low because it wasn't acceptable as being cool. But when he saw Latinos who were proud of being who they were, waving their flags and, you know what I'm saying, infusing their Latin culture into hip hop, then he said, oh, so it's cool. They accepting them, so I should be able to rep my Jamaican shit. Which nobody would have been tripping in the beginning. That was your own insecurity. Nobody would have been tripping from the beginning. People like KRS-One and all of them was never ashamed. They was always using their Jamaican accent, collaborating with Jamaican artists, putting some Jamaican rhythms in their music.
Wait, KRS-One is Jamaican too?
I'm not sure. I think he is though. I'm not sure if he's Jamaican, half Jamaican, whatever. But he's always used the Jamaican accent in his rhymes. He's always he's the one that brought out what's his name? Mad Lion. You know what I'm saying? He's always infused certain Jamaican rhythms into his music, sampled Jamaican records, all that he did from the beginning. Heavy D, who is Caribbean also, you know what I'm saying? They were never ashamed of it, but Busta Rhymes was insecure about it. But at the same time, you're trying to say that it was the dominant influence on the culture. That doesn't make sense. That's a contradiction.
So he was ashamed of his homeland.
Lost Boys put who on?
But they created hip hop. Hip hop comes from Jamaica.
On Kid Gravity. Kid Gravity said Lost Boys put him on. Who put who on? You talking about?
He was
Busta?
talking about
That's
Busta.
not correct. Yeah, that's not correct. Lost Boys came way later. Busta Rhymes been out for a long time. Leaders of the New School was like 89, 88, not 88, probably 89, 90. Busta Rhymes got his name from Chuck D from Public Enemy, is the one who gave Busta Rhymes his name. You know what I'm saying? And he was elevated by being down with the Native Tongues, which is Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers, Queen Latifah, all of that whole crew. You know what I'm saying? Which are majority foundational Black Americans, but Tip and Fife do also have Caribbean lineage as well. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't negate the fact that the culture is American. Just because you got a grandmother that came from the Caribbean somewhere, they didn't bring that culture over here. They weren't doing that in Jamaica. They weren't doing that in some of these other remote islands that some of these people are from, Grenada and different places like that, Barbados and different places like that. Just because you have a grandparent that's from there doesn't mean that's the culture that you're practicing. You assimilated into our culture because you were in Queens. You were in the South Bronx. You know what I'm saying? You was around us. That's where you even there's an interview with Slick Rick. He was talking to the other chick from London, Estelle.
Money Love. Oh, okay.
Estelle. She got like some program on Apple Music, I think it's on, and she was interviewing Slick Rick. And Slick Rick talk about how when he first came to the Bronx, he didn't fit in. His swag was off. Niggas used to roast him. You know what I'm saying? He was like, he couldn't believe how confident and bold Black Americans were. You know what I'm saying? He said he looked up to us, and then he had to get his swag together and become Slick Rick. It wasn't like he brought that with him from the UK. He said he was basically a nerd. He didn't have no swag until he came to the Bronx and got around the brothers, and he started listening to the old records from the 70s and all that, looking at blaxploitation movies and all of that. And then he got his swag up and became Slick Rick as we know him, the ruler.
Oh, my love, grew up loving, know everything word for word. Love Slick Rick.
Me too. Shit, one of my favorites.
Yes,
one of my favorites. Definitely one of my son right now, 7. That's one of his favorite rappers right now, Slick Rick.
Slick Rick.
So it's no disrespect to nobody. We got love and respect for, you know, and this is the thing too that I had to look at, and I'm gonna go into this when I do the broadcast also. We have to define these words that we use, man. When it comes to culture, we have to define what that actually is. When it comes to terms like pioneer, we have to define what that actually is. Because I was even crediting people like Crazy Legs, what's the DJ's name? Charlie Chase, and some of the early Puerto Ricans who were around as being pioneers. But that's really not correct. That's really not correct. They were around during the early days, but they were getting what they were doing from the brothers that they were around. When you pioneer something, you actually come up with it. You come up with this new idea that catches on and becomes a new wave. And so that's not what they did. There was a wave that was happening that they latched on to, but they didn't come up with anything and that we started doing. They didn't bring anything to us that we said, oh, that's fly. Let us start doing that. It was the other way around. They saw what we were doing and they got down with us. So yeah, man, make sure
they created it. Yeah,
now they're saying they created it. Make sure y'all tune in with me, man. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow or Tuesday night. Stay tuned for the reminder when I put out the thing for y'all to set y'all reminder. But I'm gonna do a whole broadcast on it.
I'm about to share something also on the materials right now. This was posted also on Twitter from I want to give him his credit, Mike Baggs, Baggz. He's a blue check. So he says Spike Lee lying, saying Puerto Ricans created hip hop. Spike Lee actually went on live with Fat Joe, if I'm not mistaken. It was on Instagram, and so he was on there babbling, talking about hip hop was created by the Puerto Ricans, blah blah blah. And so this guy, Mike Baggs, says Spike Lee's lying, saying Puerto Ricans created hip hop. He's forgetting his own scene from the movie Do the Right Thing. And there is a scene on there that I would hope that you can play if you got it in the materials right now.
I got it. And this is fair use, by the way. Fair use. Fair use. I know this is copyrighted material, but we are doing social commentary on this.
Yes.
Oh, it's on Twitter. I gotta reshare it. My bad.
I put it in the material too.
Yeah, but the link takes me to Twitter.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see, because I didn't even
contradicted himself, because he was trying to tell a story in the movie, obviously. So why didn't you tell this story in the movie? Do the Right Thing, that Puerto Ricans created hip hop.
Okay. Let me see. Do I remember this scene here? Let me see. Man, Spike been on some bullshit for a minute, man. A lot of these people are very disappointing, man. Like Busta Rhymes, even Fat Joe, like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of these people are extremely disappointing, man. All right, let me see.
Chill, man. Shut up. Honey, we have some fucking shit. This is a bad dream, man. This is a bad dream, man. Come on. Yo, man, do that, man.
Oh man, need I say more?
I'm just saying.
Need I say more? Come on, Spike. Come on, Spike. Let's bring this back. Because this is reality. This is the reality of what was happening. And the setting of Do the Right Thing was 80s, late 80s. But this was the reality in the 70s when we talking about the origins of hip hop. Oh, we're gonna get into this.
Yeah.
Chill, man. Shut up. Honey, we have some fucking shit. This is a bad dream, man.
I think that's Crazy Legs, by the way.
Well, then his ass should know. Come on.
Yo, man, do that, man. Chill. You think you got it like that, bro? Got a chocolate?
No, that's not him.
Let's go, motherfucker.
That's not Crazy Legs. I forgot the name of this guy. He used to be in a lot of movies back then.
Blow it. Yo, Steve, put it up louder, Steve. Yeah, man. Yo, put it up louder, man. You still suck again. Pendejo. Got it, bro.
Oye, pendejo. Va esa mierda. Come on, Steve, man. No la apagues, súbele.
Come on, Spike. You told it right. We was all kind of chocolates, and they wanted to hear some bachata. What is this music? We want to hear some bachata, papi. Come on, chocolate. Come on, man. That was the reality that was happening in New York, man. People try to revise the history like there was always this whole kumbaya thing. There was a lot of cool Puerto Ricans that I grew up with, very cool with. You know what I'm saying? But group for group, there was always a level of separation, and especially when you go to jail. When you go to jail, that's when you really know who is who, because they link up with their own heavy. What's up, man?
Yeah, Spike contradicted himself. That's why I wanted to share that.
You're only 1 hour into it.
What you want, a bag of chips or something? Go ahead.
You want his snack.
And it's an hour and 44 minutes, by the way.
All right, he over here counting too. I ain't mad at him. Get him 7.
It's on us to tell our stories properly and document with proper timeline and credit to the creators. Facts. Shout out to DJ RPBs. Facts.
But I think that we have documented it. That's why we have this stuff that we're able to share from the 1940s and 50s and stuff like that. So it has been documented. I think the problem hasn't been maybe documenting it, but the fact that we've just allowed people to latch on so much that they're taking the credit. Like,
the thing about it is he's right. Because even though we have this stuff to show, it wasn't called hip hop. And so that's where the disconnect comes in at. When the language changes and the terminology changes, that's where the disconnect comes in at. Because when you look at a documentary about hip hop, it's not going to show the images that we've been showing about these people in the 40s and 50s and 60s doing these things. They only go back to 1973, Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Africa Bambaataa. They don't talk about the people who came before them. There's even a DJ named Disco King Mario that a lot of people don't hear about, who Herc got his whole shit from. You know what I'm saying? There's a FBA from North Carolina moved to the Bronx. There's a short documentary on YouTube right now that y'all should go check out about Disco King Mario. I think it's called. Hold on a second. Y'all need to go watch this. It's a real good short documentary that tells the story of this brother. And the thing about it is, ain't a Puerto Rican in sight. In the whole damn documentary, there ain't a Puerto Rican in sight. It's called True First, Disco King Mario. And the channel that it's on is Beyond and Above Media.
Let me write this down.
Beyond and Above Media, True First, Disco King Mario. And so it's like a half hour documentary, and it has a lot of people who were there, who do get credit as being legends and pioneers of hip hop. A lot of them are in this documentary, you know, telling the story. Like, yo, this was before Kurt. This was before Kool Herc. No disrespect to Kool Herc, but he was not the first of anything.
Right.
This brother, this Grandmaster Flowers, they leave him out of the story, and they know who he is. So that's how you know that this is intentional.
Very intentional from the top.
And the thing is, that's why I told y'all earlier to check out Grand Mixer DXT, because he tells it in a very holistic way. And he talks about how when the language changes, how that cuts us off from the history. Because there were people doing some of these things, but it wasn't called hip hop, so they don't get the credit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Hip hop, the name hip hop, wasn't that given to hip hop by a white dude?
They say it was what's his name? Cowboy from the Furious Five. It was like a thing that people would say in their rhymes. Some of the DJs would use that term. It wasn't called what we were doing, but they were just using that to hype up the crowd. The hip hop, the hip to the hip. You know what I'm saying? They were using that to hype up the crowd. And I think they credit Cowboy from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five with that term, but it was first written in the press, I believe, in the Village Voice. Y'all can look that up and fact check me, but there was a white person that did the story in the Village Voice, and he called it hip hop. He was the first person in the press to call the culture hip hop, to use that terminology to refer to the culture. But prior to that, it was just like a thing that some of the DJs and MCs would say to kind of hype the crowd up. Merry-go-round was what the DJs was doing, was called when they would spin the records for the break dancers to go one at a time. They would stand in a circle and everybody would go one at a time inside the circle break dancing, and it was called the merry-go-round. It was called the jam before it was called hip-hop. It was the jams in the park and all of that. So the terminology is what separates things, because like Disco King Mario, that name disco is kind of what takes him out of the hip-hop history, because disco is a different genre. But really, disco wasn't even the name of the music. At one time, disco was just the place that you go to hear music. It was the club. That was the name for the club, was the disco. And so the people that played the music, they were the disco kings and the disco this and the disco that, because people were coming to the disco to party. You know what I'm saying? So it's
deep.
It's a complicated history to tell. It's not a simple history to tell.
But we got to tell it. We got to tell it. You know, it's for us to tell. You know, I think that we also need to reach out to Tariq when he does the hip hop documentary, because I do believe that both yourself and RP Beats need to be in that documentary. You guys have a lot to add to it. You guys are hip hop.
Yeah, tell them to tag me. Tell them to holler at me.
I mean, I'm just saying, family, we got to do this.
I'm ready for my close up.
Absolutely. Like real talk, like real spit, you know, because he's like really talking about, you know, going heavy on this because it's obviously needed. And, you know, we need the right people that know what they're talking about, who is a part of hip hop, to tell our story.
I will say this also, and I definitely appreciate that. And a couple of people, Great Black Shark, and a couple of other people have kind of recommended me for the documentary with Tariq. But I would just say this: I'm perfectly fine with not being a part of the documentary. I don't consider myself to be a master teacher as far as that's concerned. I do know a lot more than the average person. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop is not something that I do. Hip hop is something that I am. And I do know a lot about the history, but I'm still learning. I'm still a student of it as well. And so I feel like I can add something to it, but also I'm perfectly fine with not being a part of it as long as it's done. As long as it's
We're
done right.
campaigning to get you on it. So stop talking out of it.
I'm just saying. I'm with it. I'm ready for my close up.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying there are other people out there that I would put before myself. You know what I'm saying? The Black Dot, my brother Black Dot, and he's going to be on the Black Business Showcase soon as well. The Black Dot needs to be a part of that. Dewan B needs to be a part of that. There's another brother named Sadiq something. He was on Dewan B's broadcast one time as well. He needs to be a part of that. These are people that I bow to. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just saying that's what it is. These are real historians.
What was our brother? What did our brother say in here about the
big nigga salad?
One big nigga salad. We add you to the salad.
Yes. I'm definitely ready. And this is what I want to say too about the documentary. I'm a little I don't want to say like apprehensive or anything, but I'm very interested to see how this is going to play out, because I feel like a lot of the legends who are needed to tell this story might not be with it. They might not be with it. You know what I'm saying? As you see, like a lot of people are saying Kaz was backtracking. I kind of don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But everybody.
There's another video though that guy Mike Baggs. He actually, I believe he's the one who pulled up on him. He caught him somewhere and was like, you know, he didn't put the camera all in his face. He kind of got an angle like he didn't know he was recording them type of deal. And I was like, yo, like you started here, like what was up with that? And he, no, that's not what I meant. I'm saying nobody created hip hop. We did that. Like he went back to what he said the original time.
Listen. I feel like that. I want to see that video that you're talking about.
Okay, I'm gonna send it.
I want to see that video. Yeah, pull it up now while we're talking. But yes. I don't feel like the one that he put on his Instagram page contradicted anything that he originally said. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see no contradiction in what he was saying. To me, it was just like, because these are his people. These are not like, you know, he's friends with these people. These people who got 30 years in the game. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like some of his friends called him up and was like, yo, man. And of course, when they tell him what's going on, they're not going to tell him in the proper context. Right. They're going to they just make it seem like we're trying to take Puerto Ricans out of the picture totally. Like they're not going to put it in context and saying that all we're saying is they're not the originators, they're not the creators of the culture. They're going to say, we're trying to say Puerto Ricans ain't have nothing to do with it whatsoever. They wasn't there. They didn't participate. They wasn't down. They're going to frame it that way when they call their friend up. And he's going to say, nah, I never said that. They're going to say, well, man, they using one of your videos from your Vlad interview, and they trying to use that to say that what they're saying is valid. And so he just did a quick video saying, listen, man, I don't know what y'all talking about. My DJ was Puerto Rican. You know, most of the Puerto Ricans who were down with hip hop in the early days were a part of my crew. So I could never say that they weren't down, that they weren't there. But that doesn't contradict anything that he said in the Vlad interview. You know what I'm saying? Because just because they were down and they came around and they participated doesn't make them the inventors.
Period. Or pioneers. And it wasn't that Bags guy, it was Melrose Radio USA, and I just put it in the materials.
All right, let me see. I want to see.
One thing about the power of social media, you know what I'm saying, and these pull-ups, you got to stand on what you say. You got to stand on it. Yeah.
The pull-ups is real, nigga. The pull-ups is real. All right, let me see. Hold on. Damn, where's the button? Where's the button? Okay. Let me bring this back. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of people was getting on Kaz. I was like, I don't really hear no contradiction, but people just want you to just stand all the way 10 toes. Like, fuck all that. They want you to be on it the same way we on it.
He has to, only because of the nature of the conversation and the topic. This is not to say that they didn't add to. You know, if we're talking about the topic of who pioneered, who created, then I'm going to have to say this. Now, that doesn't mean that my brothers, you know, from the Puerto Rican community didn't come in and add to it later.
Right.
And he
said, and he said that in the original video when he was talking about the B-boy thing. In the original Vlad video, when he said that they were guests in hip hop, he still said now they took the B-boy thing to another level. He gave them their credit, but he put it in its proper context.
Right.
Okay, and I see FBA's is trending right now.
Always.
We're gonna see what that's about. But let me see this video. This is my first time seeing this.
Yeah, I commented on their presence and their contributions to hip hop, but hip hop was an African American.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I commented on their presence and their contributions to hip hop, but hip hop was an African American.
And that's all I got out of what he said. We got to stop being emotional, family. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I do want to say to the family. We have to stop being emotional. We have enough facts to stand on where we don't have to be emotional. I see a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of my FBA family, y'all getting into the name calling and the personal attacks. You don't have, when you do that, it weakens your argument. There's enough facts for us to stand on where we don't have to do that. And that's what I was saying about when I was going back and forth with Fat Joe and Crazy Legs. I wasn't doing none of that. I wasn't on no emotional tirades. I wasn't calling no names. I wasn't saying fuck y'all niggas and all this shit. I wasn't saying none of that. I was just saying, well, explain this then. If that's the case, how do you reconcile that with this?
Well, they fled and blocked you because
they blocked me.
They couldn't stand on their facts.
Because they couldn't debunk me, so they had to block me. They said, oh no, this nigga's too smart. You fucking up the plans. Because they trying to erase us. And I would love to believe that this was an innocent thing and that people just didn't know what they were doing. But it's obvious that these people are actively trying to erase us out of our own history. They're trying to deny us our contributions.
Yes, and these are people we welcome in our house, Fat Joe, Crazy Legs, and anyone else. These are people, Busta Rhymes. We welcome you into our home. We broke bread with you. You ate our food. You drank our drink. You babysat our children. You held our kids. You came to our weddings. You know what I'm saying? All these things. And so to come back and say this shit out loud and proud with your chest stuck out, and then, coming, holding true to it. Like it's really the truth. Now I have to question everything about you.
Right.
I have to question myself for allowing you in my home and calling you my brother, because there's a lot of artists out there that refer to these men as their brothers. What's her name? Remy Ma gives great reference.
Absolutely. As she should.
Fat Joe. Yeah, she should. But, some things got to be canceled out when you're coming over here being disrespectful, though.
But what I'm saying is we can't expect that from somebody like Remy Ma. She's not going to be on it like we on it, because this is a person that changed her life. She's never going to be able to see him in any other light.
Like 50 Cent with Eminem. 50
Cent with Eminem, which is a little different. I'll give Remy more of a pass than 50 with that shit, but because 50 made his own buzz. 50 was already the shit before Eminem seen the wave and was like, okay, let me get a piece of the action. You know what I'm saying? But 50 created his own wave. He was already going to on his trajectory. You know what I'm saying? And so, oh no, that's you're getting close to the coon train, Fifth. That's all I'm gonna say. You're getting close to the coon train.
Remy Ma getting on one of them damn trains too.
But I seen Remy defend Joe when people ask her certain questions. But 50, he just jumps in front of the bullet anytime somebody say something about Eminem. 50 got to just come out of nowhere with the cape. Like, chill out, my nigga. Let the nigga hold his own nuts. He's a grown man. You know what I'm saying? Him and Royce the 5'9". Let Eminem speak for himself. But that's another story. I digress. But and like I was saying, I would love, y'all know, all my GodCast team, y'all know I'm Mr. Benefit of the Doubt. I give people benefit of the doubt the majority of the time. I cannot give these people the benefit of the doubt in this case. And even Bobby Condors, I don't know if some of y'all from the West Coast might not be familiar with Bobby Condors, but he's a Jamaican DJ out of New York. You know what I'm saying? Hot 97 DJ and all that. He was on my page today on the Busta Rhymes post saying, it sounds to me like he's just talking about the white people. Like he's trying to soften up what Busta Rhymes is saying. I'm like, nah, dude. I'm like, nah. He gonna have to wear this one. He's being disrespectful to his foundational Black Americans. I can't give him no pass. Okay.
You got a DM for Ty from Ty 313.
A DM, you said?
Yeah. Peace, Nikki the God.
Okay. Let me see what's going on here. It's almost time to get out of here, but I don't see no DM. Maybe he DM'd you.
No, he said he DM'd it to you on Instagram.
On Instagram? I don't see it.
He doesn't see it.
Unless you went to my backup page, Todd. Did you go to the AKBAM page or the Sincere Love to God page? I'm at Sincere Love to God on Instagram. I'm at Sincere Love to God on Instagram. I don't see no DM. I'll give you a couple of minutes.
I agree with DJ RPBs. We share too much.
We do.
We got to stop sharing. Be selfish. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. It's a difference in being selfish and not, helping people and stuff like that. Like, I think we take it too far, because obviously, the Bible's been beat in our head. You don't want to feel like you've wronged anyone because you feel like you're going to hell or something. I don't know. That's just what I think it is. Like, Black people are just so welcoming of other people, of other cultures. Like, we're the first ones to swing our door open and lay out the red carpet and light a candle for you. And we just can't do that all the time.
You said it's the other page. All right, Ty, if you could put it in the Sincere Love to God DM, it'd be easy for me to get to it right now. Or actually, I could go on my phone.
And see, I don't know a lot about Royce. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to check him out and see what type of caping he's doing for Eminem.
He does a lot of caping too, but I could even give Royce more of a pass than 50 because Royce is from Detroit. If it wasn't for Eminem, Royce would not be Royce. 50 would still be 50 without Eminem. That's my thing.
Well, maybe Fifth don't feel like that though. Maybe he don't feel like he would have gotten, to the next level without him.
Maybe not to this level, but you still would have made it, man. Still would have made it. God damn. I still don't see nothing.
Take that coon cape off, Biff. Take the coon cape off.
I'm just saying the man can't speak for himself.
No, I mean, so while he's looking for that, did anyone hear the Games single where he went at him? Because no one ever seems to want to do that. I personally enjoyed it. My son, I have a teenager, y'all. He's like an Eminem fan, but he only listens to the old stuff. Obviously, he doesn't really have anything new. But the stuff that we kind of enjoyed back in the day, he was not feeling the game.
Yeah.
But my son wasn't feeling it. I was like,
your son wasn't feeling it.
I put him on the coon train, y'all. Every time he do something, I thought, you always put me on the coon train. Why does everything have to be a coon? I was like, nigga,
that sound like me and my son too. That sound like me and my son. My son be cooning on purpose though. He do that just to fuck with me. He be knowing exactly what I'm gonna say.
He said he audio called you too. I don't know if that was an accident, but
it ain't me, fam. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't getting none of that. I'm right here on Instagram. It ain't me. I don't know, Ty.
He sent you some stuff about some lynchings. He said, if you want to, you can DM it to me.
Yeah. But I appreciate it, though. I appreciate it. Audio called me. I don't see nothing. No, I ain't got it. Oh, let me go to the general. Okay. I see. That's why.
Yeah, because sometimes it hides.
Yeah. Okay.
I be having a whole bunch of messages in that.
Okay, this is the stuff you was talking about with the lynchings earlier. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna check this out. I appreciate that. I got it. Let me follow you back real quick too. Follow you back. Okay, you from Detroit. Shout out to Detroit in the building. B1. I just followed you back. So now I should get your message. They shouldn't hide your messages. But I appreciate that. It's about time to get out of here, man.
I'm hungry.
Good show today. Make sure y'all tap in with us on Wednesday. For those of y'all that's just now tuning in, we do have our brother Dwan B coming through for the Black Business Showcase this Wednesday. So that's going to be another scorcher right there. Get ready for some powerful gems. We're going to definitely have to get back into the music thing again.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know when, man. Just look for me to announce when I'm going to go live in the next, 48 to 72 hours with the broadcast, breaking down this whole origin of hip hop thing as well, debunking the Busta Rhymes, the Fat Joes, and the Spike Lees, and all of these people. I seen a lot of people in the comments section, man. I seen Russell Simmons. I seen, of course, Pete Rock is another one. He's Jamaican too. A lot of the legends, man. It's
Do you think
embarrassing.
they don't know, or they just forgot, or just like,
I already told you I ain't giving them that pass, man. I wanted to believe that. Of course, that was my natural inkling. My natural inkling was to think, okay, maybe they just don't have the full context. But when we presenting certain information and they doubling down on what they're saying, that shows that you have an agenda.
Right.
It shows that you have an agenda, because how could you deny this? I'm showing you a nigga doing the backspin, doing a windmill in the 1930s. How you still gonna give credit to Crazy Legs?
As a Black person, though, as a foundation of Black Americans specifically, why would they? Why wouldn't you give the credit where it's due, but to your own people? Why would you be like, oh no, here, Latinos? Like, why would you do that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're Caribbean, and like Busta said in the video, he has more of a camaraderie with the Latinos than he does with us. He said that.
That's fine. And that's fine. That does not mean them created it. That don't mean they pioneered it. That's fine. Have that camaraderie.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. So we're going to keep pulling up the receipts. We're going to keep digging deeper into it, because, again, the history that we've been told, it's a myth, and nothing is wrong with myths as long as they are presented as such. Don't present the myth as being the end-all, be-all, actual facts of the situation. There's nothing wrong with myths. Myths are necessary to explain certain stories that are complicated to tell. You know what I'm saying? When we study Egypt and we look at, Isis and Osiris, those are mythological stories, but they have deeper meanings. They're based on principles of our reality. You know what I'm saying? When we look at the Bible, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at mythological stories, but they have value to our actual reality. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with mythology, but it has to be presented that way, because if you take the Bible on face value, you're going to end up being a brainwashed coon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Which a lot are.
Right? You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with our hip hop history. It's okay. I'm cool with the Cool Herc, Grandmaster Flash thing and all that, because it's significant. It's significant and it simplifies the story, but we're going to have to unpack it and break down this history and all of its complications. So look forward to us doing that going forward.
Period.
Thank you, Jackson Harlem. Appreciate that. I do my best, man. And when I get confirmation from brothers like you, it lets me know, because sometimes I feel like I'm babbling and I'm not really saying it the way I want to say it. But when it makes sense to you, that's confirmation for me, right? But our story is more in the way of fact. I'm sure somewhere it was Asar, but a man-made God. It wasn't Asar, but a man-made God. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are based on certain principles and aspects of life and a spirituality that we need to understand, that, they break it down in a way so the common person can understand it, because everybody's not initiated into the higher realms and the higher schools of thought. Everybody's not initiated to be able to understand all of the deep sciences and all of that. And so for the common man to be able to understand, the myths become necessary. All right, so y'all tell Tariq, man. Y'all want me in the documentary? Y'all tell Tariq to holler at the God.
Period. Do y'all thing, chat, family.
I'm with it. So anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's it. Just make sure you guys tune in with us next on Wednesday as we have the YB. Don't forget, I will be on the gun range next Sunday, you guys. My brother, Body by O Tactical, will be training with Redstone Firearms here in LA next Sunday.
That's
and
dope.
I will be taking his 4-hour tactical training. So your sister gonna be out here getting dirty.
That's dope. You taking your son too?
Huh?
You
He has
taking
to
your
work.
son too?
So, no, he has to work. So, you know,
okay.
it'll just be me. I'm solo out there this time without my son, but I'll be bang banging.
Stay dangerous.
Yes.
Stay dangerous. All right, and make sure you guys are following her. She's at nyctegur with the #1 on Instagram, without the #1 on Twitter. And as y'all know, I'm at SincereluvdaGod on all social media platforms. Also, make sure that y'all check out the music on all streaming platforms. Me and my brother DJ RP Beats. We got the Spear and the Shield out there streaming right now. The Plandemic is streaming right now. And I'm going to New York soon to go finish up this latest project that we got also. So y'all can look forward to some new stuff dropping pretty soon too. Okay. And with that being said, that does it for today's episode of Sincere. You got something? Oh, that does it for today's episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. So remember, family, we are not the master teachers, but we are the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media. Peace and Black love.
Most resilient, we poster children of prophecy fulfillment. We gotta be God's children.